Welcome to the podcast. I'm looking forward to this little experiment because this is the first time I'm actually getting to meet you. I think it's kind of cool that the internet allows us to have a little conversation, and
Right.
we can learn about your program. You're the head wrestling coach at Amboy. That is correct, right?
Yes. Yep.
And Amboy, if you want to give a little, it's south of Dixon, right?
Yeah, we're just about, I don't know, about 10, 12 miles south of Dixon, in between Dixon and Mendota. So, yeah, I know Dixon really well, like Micah and Jacob Hay. I know the Hay boys were, I've been friends with them for a long time. And I've been into wrestling for a long time. And Amboy is a good little town. I've been here my whole life. I wrestled here, played football here, you know. So it's kind of good to take over and try and grow a program back up and going here in this little town.
Yeah, that's cool. So, um, how long have you been the head wrestling coach?
This will be my third season as head wrestling coach. I've been coaching for about this will be maybe my 10th year now. We started a club up, me and a guy and some other people started the Amway Clipper Wrestling Club up 9 years ago, maybe or so 10. It's been a while. So and we had a lot of kids coming through, and that's how kind of I stepped into the high school job. I got a lot of the kids I've been coaching for a long time, and we just kind of moved on up. Sam was retiring and stepping down, so he goes, "Why don't you just step in? You know the parents, you know the kids." He's like, "You can do it," and I'm like, "All right." So I was fun. It was fun doing IK for a long time, but I like doing high school. It is a little funner,
Yeah,
a
it's
little
a
more ramped up.
yeah, and it's I like high school wrestling because it's more of the closer to the high level version of it. Kids wrestling's fun, but a lot of kids got a lot of development to go, so it's hard
Yeah.
for me to get that excited about
Yeah.
competitions and stuff. Uh,
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. And I still help out with the club as much as I can. It's fun. I got an 8-year-old, just turned 8 yesterday, and then I got a sophomore. So, one that wrestles in high school still with me. So he's not too fond of me being the high school coach because I kind of moved up with him, you know what I mean? But yeah,
well,
he likes it. He enjoys it, so
yeah,
we have
that's
fun
good.
with it.
Well, so what conference are you guys in?
We're in the Northern NUIC.
Okay. And so I know a lot of schools in that conference co-op. Are you guys one of them?
Yes, we co-op with Lamoille, Ohio, and we have AFC now, who's co-op for the last. I think this may be our fourth year with them. I think so. And I got a couple kids that are coming through there that are they're pretty good kids, so it's kind of fun having them included. And their program was just as bad as ours, I guess, at the time. So that's why they started co-op. And so, and
Yeah.
Lamoille, Ohio, have never had a program at all. So it's kind of good. We take the enrollment on. We're still in 1A. We don't, it's not enough to bump us up to 2A, so we're good there. But we
What
we
is
got a
the
lot of good kids coming up.
enrollment? Do you know?
Amboys, I think it was like 290 something, I think.
Okay.
Then you take on their enrollment, so we're still way under,
Yeah.
you
So
know.
a typical season, how many do you have on the roster?
I started with 6 last year at 8. This year I'll probably have about 15, I think. I'm gonna double this year. I have a lot of eighth graders moving up, a lot of good kids that wrestled for me back, when I did club a few years back, and they're multiple state qualifiers for IK, a couple replacers, you know what I mean? So they've been there for a while. Trying to grow this program around here back up and have a good team to maybe go for a conference championship, maybe a regional championship here in the next year or two. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I
Got a
mean,
lot of good kids coming.
there's a possibility for anything to happen. One of the things that
It's
I wanted to
wrestling.
I wanted to reach out to people to just to create conversation, right? So Amboy
Right.
is somewhere that I've obviously I'm not really aware of, but knowing that it's so close and it's part of the Northern Illinois Conference conferences, if you will.
Yep.
The ones that I've decided to kind of cover right now are the big Northwestern Illinois Conference and then Northern Illinois Conference.
Right.
And so just getting communication to all the schools. So it's nice to hear that,
Yeah,
about your
I
program and
yep,
where it is.
I seen your podcast with Justin Lehman, Oregon's coach. Me and Justin, I've known him for a long time, and and I watched it, and that's why I said, and I got a hold of you or whatever. So I was like, it's I'm trying to get in the paper more, got the paper involved more around here, the Amboy News, trying to put more stuff in the paper about our stuff. And me and a buddy of mine just did a old timers tournament back in August at the Amboy Depot Days. It's a huge carnival and stuff they have here every weekend or every year. During the weekend, it was an outdoor. It's called Meet in the Streets, and it was 21 and over, and it was out on the road. I brought two mats out. We put it out in the middle of the street, right in front of the carnival and everything. And it was a team duel. It was a team tournament. We had 8 full teams. I mean, we had Dixon, Winnebago, Elgin. We had teams from everywhere coming. It was awesome. Next year we'll have probably 12 teams.
Wow, cool. So it's all
Belvedere
that
needs
was
to get
just
one.
that was all old timers, you're saying?
Yep, all old timers. We had 20, it was 21 and over. You cannot be in college at the time. That was a rule. You can wrestle in college back in your day. A lot of them did, but it was fun. Now the Bakers were here. We had Nelson and Nolan Baker here from Rochelle and Sterling. We had Sterling Westbrook from Sterling was here. Yeah, we had a lot of guys. It was fun.
That is fun. How many injuries?
Um, well, Westbrook, the coach for Sterling, he ended up tearing his tricep in I think his second or third match. And then my heavyweight tore his calf muscle. He was cramping up and he tried going, and then it ended up tearing because he was cramping. And my 55 pounder, he already had a bad knee. He was just wrestling on it anyways. So it
Gotcha.
was already garbage. But other than
Yeah,
that, it was pretty good. And
that's
it
good.
wasn't like high throwing. I figured it was going to be throw and go home, but no, it was a lot of technique. It was 3 periods. We went 3 1-minute periods, 30 seconds of rest in between each period
Yeah,
because those
yeah.
old timers, us 40-year-olds had need rest. You know what I mean?
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to look into that to find out about next year. I mean, that's kind of interesting concept. So you're
Yeah.
using that's kind of one of your methods
It's,
is to
it's a
put some
fundraiser.
okay.
Yep, and it's a fundraiser for my high school team, which this year me and my buddy, we forked out all the money to get it going. So we kind of broke even, kind of lost money, but it's a fundraiser for awareness. I mean, the crowd there was insane.
Yeah,
There had to have been 500 people standing around those mats up and down the street watching these people wrestle. You
that's
know what I
cool.
mean? Everybody
So
had track boards and everything.
that's cool. So how many kids are in your typical in your kids club typically?
Um, the last year COVID kind of ruined the club a little bit. You know what I mean? That year, like a lot of parents and kids didn't want to do it because of the close contact. And the following year, parents were still kind of. We got shut down that one year. The next year, everyone was still kind of getting shut down. If someone kid got it, the whole team had to quarantine for. Even the school was making us do it. So we got. It was we got now we're down about 30 to 40 right now. We
Gotcha.
had about 60 before COVID.
That's cool though. How many are you coming? I mean,
This
you
year,
said
yeah, right.
18.
See, and that's just it. On average, so you get a lot of little ones, and then you're trying to keep them coming through. So, on average, you lose. You get 10 new ones, and you keep 3 to 4 by the time you don't get to keep them all, but you got to give them a chance and let them try it out. It's not for everybody.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
we right now I have let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 freshmen this year that have just moved up. And then next year I've got 6 that'll be moving through. So there's 11 right there in the next 2 seasons.
Yeah. Well, that's good to look forward to. So going into your team and thinking about this season, like how many returning seniors do you have, or
No
just break down
seniors.
your lineup a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. My numbers this year, I'm looking at returning guys. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 returning boys and 1 returning female. I had 1 senior last year, and then I only have 1 senior this year, but I have a new guy moving in. He's a senior. He's going to try it. I got a lot of awareness with the team. I had a freshman qualify for state this year or last season, so that was the first time Amboy's ever had a freshman qualify for state. So that was kind of nice. You know what I mean? And we
What was
went
his name?
down Landon Blanton, my 113 pounder.
Yep.
So he did pretty good. He won regionals, placed second at sectionals. It was a good match. State freshman year, he went down to state with me with IK and stuff before too. So, but when you're down at a Champaign and you walk out the tunnel and your first match, his eyes were as big as quarter dollars, half dollars. You know what I mean? So it was fun. He had fun. We won one, lost two. So we went down there and wrestled, and he's playing. He's been wrestling all year with Alber. He just got done with Kalamazoo, Michigan on Friday and Saturday. He wrestled up there. They do the was it the Grambler Brawl or whatever? You have to be a state qualifier to qualify it. So he went up there and did that. He lost kid against Georgia, so it was one and done on Nationals Day. And then Saturday was the state qualifier, state placer day, and he won one or lost one, won two, and then lost his second one before the blood round, so he was done. So, but he's been wrestling nonstop. He wants to stand on that podium this year.
That's great. Yeah, good to hear. So is Landon Blanton.
Yep, and his brother will be a senior this year. He's one of my returning. He'll be a senior this year, Lucas Blanton, which he's been doing the same. He was a big kid last year, you know what I mean? He's lost some weight. Now he's bulking up. He'll be probably my 80 some pounder. I mean, now they move weight, so it'll be, what is it? 80 or no, it's 75 or 90 now. The new weights kind of are giving everybody a jump around. There's no 80-pound weight class at all. So I'm like, what do you want to do? 75 or 90? It's a big jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been hearing mixed feelings as far as
I hate it.
what's helped and what hurt. Yeah,
That's my fam. I don't mean it is what it is. I know what IHSA is doing. They're going off of you know, whatever weights are coming in, what they go out, they go off past seasons, whatever strategy they go off of is
yeah,
their thing. But
yeah. I would prefer just one every 10 weight class. 10 pounds
yeah,
would be pretty good.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, knowing that your team's a little small, so dual meets aren't obviously something that is always exciting. What type of tournaments and schedule do you have
We
typically
do.
throughout the
I do.
year?
First thing I do is I always do Plano's tournament. So it's a 2-day tournament, and they have 2 3A teams there a lot of times. I don't know if Belvedere comes there. I think they were there last year, maybe.
I'm not
But
sure.
we do their tournament. We do Seneca's tournament. We do Orion. That's another 2-day tournament. Um, I think we do like Oregon Fresh Soft tournament for my younger kids. This year, we do the Stillman tournament, the holiday tournament every year, and I don't know if we're going to do that this year or not. I'm debating on it. Last year it was kind of slow, so I'm thinking there's a couple. Me and Layman actually been talking about doing maybe a quad or something.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Just something different, get some more wrestlers and competition wise and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean the schedule is interesting because you really have to have the ability to to flex it for your team, whether or not you have
Right.
individuals that need to go to tournaments that
Hmm.
want some bigger competition, and then you want to make sure that kids get matches. Like, I mean,
Right.
at lower level kids, most of the kids that are not varsity, I think would benefit from just competing once a week, but with like a lot of matches when they do compete, and then practicing a lot during the week. But yeah, so
Yeah.
you have a lot of do you have a lot of like leeway with your schedule? Then you get to
I mean, I have a lot of duels. I mean, my schedule's pretty full. Last year I had some kids. I had one kid hit 45. You know what I mean? And I had one at 44, one at 43, a couple at 40, So I wrestled enough matches and tournaments last year that, we got some good matches in. We wrestled some top quality kids, especially at tournaments. So and I try and look at that too, see who's in my regional sectional, so the tournaments I jump into, like last year I joined Orion's just on a whim because I had 3 regional teams coming there. So I'm like, I might as well go there and see what we got. So I'm doing that. Me and AD are working together, trying to do our schedules finalized, and I have no home wrestling meets. That kind of stinks. But which I'm like, how am I supposed to senior night? But we figured out we got 2 so now. So we're working on a couple more, but yeah, I was like, he goes, I know the way our triangles worked out and everything being a little school, it's just hard to, coordinate and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
me and AD George are doing pretty good. We're working through it.
Nice. How far north do you guys tend to go? You guys come up?
Winnebago, we'll
Okay.
go up to Winnebago. I mean, that's probably as far north as we go. I mean, then we go like Riverdale, Sandwich, Polo. We got West Carroll, Lena Winslow.
Yeah.
Then Durand to Pecatonica.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't. I'll have to look at some schedules because I'm going to jump around maybe a little bit more this year and try to see some duels and try to just get to see a lot of everybody, even if it's not
Right.
maybe the most exciting duel, just to get to see some exposure for the kids that are wrestling, to
Yep.
see where they're at. I really want to find a way to create a more of a open dialogue where it's like, oh, Landon Blanton is your 113 pounder. Um,
Right.
and
Last year he did pretty good. I tried getting him. I got him ranked. Me and Rob Sherrill, we talked and stuff. So and I showed him, said, "Hey, look at this kid. He's been beat. He's beat these top. Plano. He got first at Plano. You know what I mean? So he's like, he beat a 3A state champ from last year, the year before. You know what I mean? Or state qualifier or whatever. And I'm like, you need to look at him. And then he's, I will. And then after, I just kept putting all my stuff with him, all my records and all my meets and, just keep going. And finally Landon's like, dude, I'm in the rankings. I'm like, I know you are, buddy. I'm like, just keep wrestling, you
yeah,
know? So and
well,
now he's just full bore,
that's
which
great.
I
Yeah,
love it.
when you win, you'll be recognized. It's just sometimes it's
Yeah.
even when you are doing really well and have success, like you know,
Yeah.
yeah, some people don't
Whatever.
notice you. Yeah, yeah. I'm from
Well,
a smaller town, obviously
yeah.
not 300 in a class, but I went to Belvedere, and Belvedere was a small school, and
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I was ranked in the state. I wasn't recognized, even though
Right.
I had a lot of success, but nobody still didn't recognize me. So I
Right.
know,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
wrestling, though. That's just it. The only people that recognize you are wrestlers.
yeah, no,
You know what I mean? That's just the way it works, which, unless you're WWE, which who cares? I'm not there for the publicity, we're here to wrestle, but yeah, I just like growing the program and growing the sport, period, because the sport I wrestled my whole life and I loved it, you know.
great.
You learn so much from the sport, you know.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how the season goes. And is there anything else that
No, I
y-
mean, I got a lot of kids coming up. I mean, like these freshmen that are coming up, man. I got some kids at Evan Flanagan. He's starting on varsity right now for football. He's gonna be my probably my 95 pounder. Right now he's 6'2", 215 freshman. And last year he's made state the last 2 years, placed seventh, for IK. I got another young kid that's a freshman, Jose Lopez. He's going to be probably a 30, anywhere in 26 to 38 range. I don't know. We'll see, between after football. They're all in football right now. So with Amboy being good in football too, an 8-man, we'll probably make state again this year. So I'll get about 2 practices before our first meet.
yeah,
You know what I mean, with my wrestlers. So a lot of them, anyways, the ones that play football. So that's kind of rough.
yeah, it
Trying
is
to get
always a
them, you know
challenge.
what I mean? Trying to get them to wait and before a pinch test and everything else. So
Yeah, but sometimes it's also good that they don't start right away because the season is long and it can get very very
right,
fast.
I got some home conference matches that are right off the bat, so I'm always like getting my good ones out there. So I'm like, they're most of them are in shape. A lot of them wrestle all summer with me. I take my teams to camps in the summer. We do a Dean Hamidi with Wisconsin Badgers. I don't know, DJ
Yep.
Hamidi. So I know him. He's a great kid. We go to Nate Martinez, NWO Wrestling. That's where we go and we do a camp with him. Me and Nate are really good buddies. So we go there every summer. And we do a camp with DJ and some Wisconsin Badgers and have the kids stay overnight. We do a 3-day camp and the kids have fun and we learn a lot of, a lot of wrestling technique and stuff like that every year. So next year, I'm trying to do one here to do a fundraiser for us. Have DJ and about 4 or 5 Badgers come, so we're trying to grow something here, and that's what I'm trying to do, anyways.
Yeah, great. Well, keep trying. It sounds like you're doing a lot. I
Yeah,
think you just the challenge is continuing to stay at it. So um,
Yeah, I got some good coaches behind me now. I got another assistant. So Brian Appleman's one of my assistants. I started. He was here before me. And then Dallas Appleman, which is his cousin, which is our last state placer. They're both state qualifiers for Amboy, and Dallas was our last placer back in maybe 17, 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there, I think. I don't know. I'm getting old.
how many coaching stipends do you get
Just me and one assistant. That's it.
for all
So I get
levels?
guys coming in, and I usually just pay them out of my my own salary, and then But
Yeah,
throughout the year, I mean, I spend enough money on this team that it doesn't matter. It's just growing the sport, growing camaraderie, growing this, and the teams become a family. I've got the parents involved, trying to get involved. They seem closer to one another now. And last few years, I'm like, wrestling is like a family. You become friends with your opponents. Even though they go kick your butt after the match, you'll go out and say, hey, man, you still shake their hand. It is, you might have that opponent you're not friends with, but you're still going to have them ones that, it's just, that's the sport,
yeah,
so that's why I love it so much. There's so much stuff that is involved with this sport other than just the sport itself, you
yeah.
know,
So many relationships get built and developed
for
through
sure.
the process. I mean, most of the people that I find myself engaging with have some sort of connection to the sport. So the sport has a lot of ancillary benefits that
Right.
come with it. So um,
Yep.
yeah, I mean,
What do you
so
think about the new weight class, the weight classes
weight classes. Again, I don't really have too many thoughts as far as opinions, just because
as far as they go?
I mean, there's really nothing to it, right? So like, I like the
Right.
idea behind being able to fluctuate based off of like, how many kids are in certain weight classes, but at the same time,
Right.
I don't understand why you couldn't just do um, every 10
Yeah.
pounds. and
25, 35, 45, 55, 65.
and that's even if you have to amend the the amount
14
of
weight
weight. Yeah, yeah,
classes
yeah.
or yeah.
At the end of the day, you could go less than 14 and have bigger brackets, or you can go to smaller
You could
brackets
go,
and make
yeah, right,
more weight
15
classes.
classes too, yeah, you go 15, 16 classes, and then,
Yeah,
like the 200, you got 220 to 2, I mean, it's always been like that, though, it is what it is, but when you're at 245, what do you do?
yeah. Well, I guess here's the thing in wrestling. What's interesting is they'll change the rules of the actual contest, but
Yeah,
they won't necessarily jump to just changing something as subtle as like we're going to
yep,
have a weight class every 10 weight classes and not care about it.
yeah,
Because the cutting weight stuff is like, if you want to mitigate cutting weight, then obviously more weight classes would be nice, but you don't want
th
too many weight classes because then you don't really have a competitive
you don't have the
landscape.
team like, I wouldn't have the team to fill it if I had any more,
Well,
but
I'm just speaking on behalf of like the idea of like the competition. And so,
right,
if you have the best 152 pounder and then the best 150 pounder, it's kind of like, why
yeah,
don't they wrestle, right?
yeah,
Uh, so you
it's
need
2 pounds,
you need a weight class, and 5 pounds is probably too short of a spot. And then
right.
you could go 8 to 10 pounds, but whatever it is, just do that every other weight class, or every other pound.
Right, and I think there should be a stipulation on their pinch test where, like, when you have I had a guy, he lost, it was my first year, started at 256, ended at 191. He lost 60 some pounds throughout the season.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
when
But
it
he
comes,
couldn't, I mean, he was dropping, and like there's weeks that I had to wrestle him JV because he was under the allowed pinch test weight
yeah,
because he was dropping so much weight, you know what I mean, on a diet because he was used to just, it was his first year wrestling ever, so his mom got put him on the diet I gave him, and it was working. And he
yeah,
was just dropping pounds. But I was like, you can't wrestle varsity. And his mom's like, she's like, that's bull crap. And I'm like, if he weighs in under what he's supposed to, I can get in trouble. I'm like, I can't, you know what I
yeah,
mean? I'm like, we
yeah,
can't, that's just the way the IHSA and the state runs it. I can't change that.
yeah,
But she goes, you're doing a great job. He loves the sport. I'm like, well, he'll be back next year. So he did.
yeah.
He came back and he did good. You know what I mean? He was my 195 pounder last year.
That's
Or
great.
no, he
Yeah,
went to 215. He was at 215 last year.
yeah. Unfortunately, those rules aren't actually based in like scientific logic. Like it's just based on like preventive. They're trying
Yeah,
to they're trying to prevent a bad thing from happening.
and I get it because I remember back when I was in school, college guys. I mean, some college guys died on the scale. Like they'd weigh in, and
Yeah,
because the solar suits and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That were allowed back then, and stuff like that in the '90s and stuff like that. It was, you don't need that stuff, and I get it. I totally get it. But when you got, I think there should be somewhere near 30% body fat.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing: the problem is you can't actually mitigate those negative things. Like
Right.
because just because you do it, if you try to mitigate it here, there's still ways around it. And people with the body fat stuff, I mean, it's so easy to say that people cheat. It's just one of those things that
Yeah.
I know that it's more for show than it is
Yeah.
for actual substance. And I've
It
had it
really is.
too where there's been, kids that are, you know, you could clarify that, kids that are clarified as obese,
Right.
they wrestle for an entire season. They burn so much fat and they lose so much weight so quick because their body is in a state that it wants to actually get rid of all that extra stuff.
Right.
So it's just one of the things. I have a degree in exercise science, and when we went through all this stuff, it's just frustrating because if I was a personal trainer and I was taking them through a workout regimen, a dietary protocol, like they would be dropping the weight. And if they do it the right way, they can make significant jumps, like
Yeah.
you were mentioning.
Right.
And so if you're stopping somebody from doing that, it's kind of
Yeah.
a contradiction to health and
Right, and he got
performance.
frustrated with it. He really did, being a first, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, a first year wrestler, you know what I mean? He was like, "And then, oh, I can't wrestle varsity." He's like, "I'm cutting this much weight." He's like, "I can't." I'm like, "Buddy, I can't stop
Yeah.
that." You know what I mean? I have to abide by the rules. I can't. His
Yeah.
mom was upset. He still came out last year and then he kicked butt, but he didn't want to drop weight. I could have cut him probably to 70 something
Yeah.
still. By the end of the day, he's just like, he goes, "Why? What's the point?" And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. His mental, toughness just isn't there yet. So
Yeah.
hopefully it'll get there.
Well, luckily for him, whatever obstacle comes in front of him, even if it's a obstacle that shouldn't be there, right, because of some stupid rule, it's
Yep.
still an obstacle, and he still needs to learn how to
He
respond to
can,
that situation.
yes.
Because
Yep.
at the end of the day, you can't control the actions, those other actions. Like he
Exactly.
can't decide that. So yeah, that's great. Glad to hear that, so much about the program, what you're doing, Brent. This is a nice time to meet you.
Yeah. It's been great.
And when the season starts up, I'll definitely have you back on, and we'll talk about some results and see how the guys are doing. And
Awesome.
yeah, talk again.
Sounds like hey, thanks for giving awareness. Thanks for doing what you do, man. Just throwing getting awareness out to the sport and us guys up here in Northern Illinois, it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I seen the podcast of Justin. I'm like, I gotta get on this thing. I was like,
yeah. Well, I
Justin
appreciate.
goes, he's like, I wish I was more prepared. I'm like, what do you get prepared? The rest of these ain't started yet. We don't even know who's you got
Yeah,
80 kids. I got 15.
yeah. Well, I think Justin was well prepared. He knew.
He always is.
Yeah, he knows his team, and
He does. He always is. I just always give him crap and he's gotta give
yeah.
me a back,
Well, I
so.
appreciate you coming on so that it gives somebody else some more confidence into coming on. Other coaches I would like to really get on, and some of them have reached out to me, and
Yeah.
some of them haven't.
Micah
So
Hay, he's a good coach from Dixon. Have you talked to him yet?
I haven't talked to him, but again, like I said, his team doesn't fall into my
Yeah,
conferences.
Dixon's 2A too. Now
Yeah.
they bumped
Well,
to 2A,
again, I
but
would still cover them. It's just
right,
I haven't. I can't expand the amount of schools that I do like cover. It will create more work.
right.
So it's like
I
it's
gotcha.
balancing
I
how
own my own
much.
business, man, too, so I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. Just trying to make,
Busiest.
just trying to be as efficient as I can when it comes to maximizing the locality.
Yep, yep, yep.
If there's a story to be said about somebody in Dixon, I'll definitely try to do it. But as far as like
Yep.
comprehensive stuff constantly, it's going to be a little bit of challenge. But I will reach out to those guys to have them on the podcast because I don't
Yeah.
really care. We can always talk about wrestling and
Micah
the
knows a lot
guys.
of people, and he was in 1A last year with us, and then they bumped him this year back to 2A. Thank God. I told him, I was like, how'd you get into 1A? I'm like, what's your
Yeah.
enrollment Let me look. I'm at the protest. I'm calling Sam Knox and at the protest this to HSA. He's like, I
Yeah.
don't like you.
Yeah. Well, they bring
We're
good
good buddies. You know what I mean? It's fun.
yeah, they have good it's a good competition. So,
Yep. So,
but all right, Brent. Well, thanks again. And yeah, we'll talk
yep.
soon.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good one.
You too.